the Pagena call for a suspicious drone sighting in North Stonington. The reporting's party name is Lisa. She's driving back to Groton, but believes she has video of drones in the area that were landing in the solar panel farm, sucking power from the solar panels so they can continue their flights. You call her.
The lights do not always flash. I go to Walmart all the time, and they never flash like this.
Okay, legit, I had to like pull over and like pull this back up because I thought maybe it's a car party, right? There's a bunch of like those weird looking Tesla vehicles over there, and I thought maybe it's like a car club. They're just all meeting up, and it's a Thursday night. I just want to show you, but there's no one over there. There's not a body. There's not a person. Like if it was a car club, those are pretty common around Atlanta. But look at this. I'm gonna zoom in just so you. But the video that I heard was, it was like this girl who was saying like, have you seen any of like the lights flickering or anything like that? And then there was a guy in Jersey, he was like, yeah, my apartment car, I mean my like house lights, I'm sorry, my house lights have been going off and like flickering. And she made a video of like lights just like this doing the same thing in a parking lot. I have no idea how to find that or stitch it, but this is what's happening. Not a single person. And listen, I'll let the window down so you can hear. Because when I had like my radio on. There's no sound. Hold on, I'll even turn my car off. No sounds. Just cars going off. Alright, interesting enough.
How many to the lights?
I don't really know, Ben.
Show to Mom.
I am gonna show it to Ben.
Oh, please.
Yeah.
It's in Memphis.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's where you were?
Yeah.
I see.
Memphis,
Okay.
the capital of ancient Egypt.
Right. Yeah, you're bringing what?
Perhaps that's where.
Waynesboro, Virginia. We have blinking light syndrome here too. Haven't seen any drones. But tell me why everything's blinking.
The first one is in the front.
The inside is blinking in there too if you look.
No, that's just the
The
outside.
one, is it just the outside?
Yeah, it's just the outside, but not in the inside. Yeah, it's not. It's the
So why is this building blinking too?
Maybe it's the drones.
Oh my god. What are these Teslas doing? Oh my god, my phone's making funny weird noises too. Oh no, they're hacking my system. Oh my
1973, 42 years ago. The wife was in the hospital, and I went and visited her and come home, and after a long day's work at Inco and going to the hospital and that I came home. And when I got home, tired and everything, I went straight to bed. It was about 9 or 10 o'clock. I had to work in the morning. My tenant next door, about approximately 1 o'clock in the morning, came over and nearly knocked the door down, trying to wake me up, and yelling, and I thought there was something wrong, so I got up and seen, and he told me, he said, you have to come outside and see what's in the pole line. And I told him, I said, listen, it's late, I'm tired, I got to go to bed. I said, it's the moon. He said, you have to come, or you have to come. So I went out, I'd witnessed with him this big, humongous, bright as a light bulb, like when you see a light bulb, and the size of the complete width of the pole line, the hydro line at the back of the house. And there was a wire leading from it onto the power line. You could see it was taking power. I couldn't see the machine itself, but you could see it was all in glow. It was one of the most spectacular scenes I've seen in my life. One I'll never forget, anyway. And I can thank my neighbor for that. But I went to the neighbors the next morning and I told them about it. And she told me I should have woke her up and brought her there. And I told her, well, there was so much excitement going on at the spur of the moment, I didn't even think of it. But she had told me that she had seen, she had waken up approximately that time, and she had seen that everything was lit up in the house. She figured that the kids had left the lights on. But, lo and behold, it wasn't the lights, it was this UFO or whatever it was over a power line that created that light. And many, many years ago, my mom had mentioned something that she'd seen, UFO, a flying saucer, she had called it, and she drew me the picture with all little windows all around it, and she had it hovered over the trees, and all she had time to do is grab the two kids, run into the house, and she was very terrified. But this one here, I didn't see no little windows. All I seen was a bright light. Everything was lit up. And it's only by Kokigami Lake over the power lines there, right? So that's about it.
How much has this changed your life since you had this sighting back in '73?
Well, it never changed my life any, because I was always aware from Mom's statements and seeing the shows and everything else prior to that those things do exist. And after seeing it, then I was a true believer because I've seen it at such a close range. Eh?
So how close do you think it was?
Well, from where I was, I'd say 500 feet, maybe. I don't know if it was 1,000 feet away from where we were standing. And it was approximately about maybe 40 feet above the power line, with a line leading from it onto the pole line, and that was all lit up too. The line was all lit up. You could see what it was doing. It was drawing power from the power line, whatever it was. And then after that, we stood there, him and I, for about maybe 20 minutes. We watched it, and I guess we were so shocked from such the experience of seeing that so close that I don't think we said one word or nothing. And then it took off. We didn't even see it leave, everything. And the power line was all lit up from side to side. It was even brighter than the daytime because there was no shadows. It was bright, full sight of the pole line. At least during the day, well, if you're there, it's bright, but you'll see shadows of the tree or something. But there it was dark. And it took off, no sound, no nothing, and that was it.
And it was at least 40 feet wide?
Well, whatever the pole line is wide, plus. It was wider than the pole line, like the complete pole line, from what I can remember there.
Thank you.
As I approached this corner, I glanced up and caught this big object in this area.
What he saw was a UFO at about the spot where the helicopter is located. The object was 150 feet in diameter, 20 feet high, silver gray in color. It hovered over Pekka silently.
And I saw these objects hanging down like cable-like fixtures hanging down below it. And as I watched it, these tentacle-like things went up and these lights came out of this saucer-like thing, and these big lights came on, which was a shaft of lights, two of them.
Pekka ran back into his home where he and his wife watched the UFO fly away. Panicked, frightened, they took their children to the home of a friend, Gail Arant, who also saw the object.
I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was just.
But you have no question that you saw it?
No question whatsoever. It was there. I saw it. It doesn't matter to me if anyone believes me or not. I know what I saw, and Bill too. I mean, it was frightful.
Whatever Bill Pecka and several other Colusa residents insist they saw last October remains unidentified and unexplained.
Yellow.
Good evening, or good morning, I should say.
Yeah, I'm very sorry to having to bother you.
No problem at all. We'd like to hear about what you saw.
Well, I never used to believe in it, but I do now. Around 1 o'clock, the power went off. And I have power running from my shop to my house, and I figured maybe it blew a fuse in there. I've been watching television. And I went outside, very dark, with no lights anywhere, and had this funny feeling like static electricity around me or something. I don't know. I couldn't figure out what was wrong. I looked up behind the barn, which is right behind my house, and this giant object like an upside-down cup was just there, hovering, not making a sound, but weird-looking lights. And I ran back in the house to get my wife, and it was already about like 5 or 10 miles away. And it was coming back this time with 3 giant beams on the ground, lighting up the whole surface of the ground.
Uh-huh.
And my neighbor has a crop dusting outfit behind my field, and it lit their house up, and it was shining these weird lights out, like spotlights. They wasn't going out too far, but they were far apart, and it would come right for the house again, so I grabbed my kids out of bed, and we ran to the car and got in a pickup. And the damn thing followed us until we got to the cemetery, and then I had to hit my brake lights, because I was driving no lights, to get over the hump. And when I did that, it took off like a flash off to the right and went off towards the Sacramento area. And there was more than one, but I didn't have a chance to look at the other. This one's too damn close, you know.
Yes.
But it was hanging over the barn, and it had this funny electricity stuff bothering you. I mean, it's like you get a tingle, you know.
You could feel that in your body then?
All the way through.
Okay.
And I'm still shaking.
Uh-huh. Okay, now going back to when you first saw this, how close to the ground was it?
He was about 50 feet and counting the barn. He was right above the barn.
And how far away from you, would you say?
Well, I would say within 100 feet from my house to the barn.
100 feet, okay. And it was shaped like an upside-down cup?
Right.
Is that all you could see? Now, could you see?
I couldn't see the above it because at that point, it was too many weird-looking lights drawing your attention. I just couldn't take time to look the whole thing. It just scared me, you know.
Uh-huh.
But I did look at it for a good 2 minutes. I mean, I stood there, I was froze. And it doesn't make a sound.
Okay, could you see a surface?
Yes, when it took off, it looks like an upside-down... Well, I hate to say this, but do you know the movie they have on TV called The Invaders?
Yes.
Okay, it looks identical to that.
Okay, were there any openings?
I can't see. There's too much bright light.
Too much light, too much outside glow.
Light.
Okay, right, okay.
An neon color.
Right. Now, did this light up the ground under it?
But it didn't light the ground up on the barn until it took off over there, and it stopped, and it had 3 lights. It lit up the ground under it in a huge, big circle.
Now, were these shafts of light that came down from
beams
from the bottom of the object?
Well, this center one was a huge light that went straight down.
Uh-huh.
And then it had one out in front that went down on the ground, and then it had one on left and right of it that showed on there were power poles with the power poles on the 2047, and it looked like it was shining lights right on those electrical transformers.
Right on the transformers.
And the lights was already out all over the whole valley, but it came. When I called the wife to the window, it was coming right at us again. And it had these giant lights, but this time it only had one light. But it was a beam, a huge, big beam, I'd say a couple, 300 feet in diameter, on the ground, coming right at us. And I panicked and grabbed the kids, and we took off with no lights.
Okay, but did you have any trouble with the car or anything while you were driving?
No, I just fired it up, and it's a Chevrolet, you know, it takes a little bit, and I put it in reverse and backed out, and after the backup lights come on, and that scared me because I figured it's going to see us, you know.
Uh-huh.
And it came right over Bailey's trees, which is the next door neighbor to us, and they were eucalyptus pretty tall. And it just seems to know how to act to manipulate it, you know, on the ground maneuver. And it doesn't make a sound. That's what's weird.
And this followed you? Into
It
town?
followed me right along the side of us, within about 100 yards from us, and I was made to turn on the main road and hit it towards town as fast as I could with no lights. It was right there, and I was getting pretty panicked, and my wife was too. But when I hit the railroad track, there's quite a little hump over it, and I put the brakes, and the brake lights came on bright red, and I figured, oh, Christ, he's really going to find us now, you know.
Uh-huh.
And it took off behind us on the right of us, and took off towards the Sacramento area. And it just went all that way so fast, you can't believe it.
Did it change in appearance at all when it took off at high rate of speed?
It can make any turns it wants.
I mean, did the glow around it increase?
It turns soft blue. I mean, kind of a purplish blue.
When it took off?
When it takes off, yeah.
Okay. Now, during this whole experience, at no time you saw any kind of a surface, right?
Just an outline of a shadow, you know.
Okay.
Like I say, I seen a good look of it there at the barn.
Right.
But the underneath got some weird-looking things on it. That's what startled me. You know?
Did it have any colored lights on it?
Yes. It's kind of a frosty light. You know, it's not a... They're just like a neon light.
Right.
And there's a series of little teeny things that go through the light, like little neon tubes.
Did any member of your family have this feeling also?
No, I woke him out of sound sleep.
Okay, then the only time you had this tingling sensation would be outside, okay.
But it looked like to me it was drawing electricity out of the power poles or something, because it had these beams on these transformers.
Okay, now were these just high voltage lines, or were they the large transmission lines?
Well, see, we have irrigation pumps on the canal.
Oh, yes.
And they're quite, I don't know how many voltage, but they're quite a bit. And they're big, huge transformers, so I don't know if it was just looking at them or if it's drawing energy from them, but it looked like to me it was drawing something from them.
Okay. Now, how big was this object? Is there any estimates?
No, beg your pardon?
How large was the object?
I don't want to, I hate to guess.
Could you compare it with...
it was as big as around as my whole barn. And the barn is pretty old, but it covered the whole top of it. And the barn is probably like 75 by maybe 50, and it goes up pretty tall.
Okay. Do you have any livestock on the farm?
No, I just got two animals, a cat and a dog. It's in the shop.
Okay. Can we have your name, sir?
Yes, sir. Mr. Bill Pecha. P-E-C-H-A. It's actually Billy Benson, but I don't like Billy, so I can just Bill.
And your wife saw this?
My wife seen it right out the window.
And what was your wife's first name?
Linda Pecha.
And your children saw it?
My children sees the light, but they were scared in a sleep.
Okay.
We woke them out of it.
All right. Did the police department get any additional reports on that?
Yes. I called my neighbors because I was very worried about them when I got to town because it had this huge light over their house. And they own the airport. And I called her and she said that they were asleep. They didn't hear anything or nothing. I told her it didn't make a sound. And I didn't want to tell her that I was waking her up, scaring her. And she said she kind of believes in it too, but she would keep an eye out.
Okay. How long did the power outage last?
Well, I'd say within about, well, I can't tell you everything going on. I didn't want to stay in the dark because I didn't want to be seen. I think about maybe 15 minutes or 20 minutes.
And this covered the whole county?
Yes, it did. Everything was black around here. I didn't know until he told me that the whole county was knocked down.
You said that there was more than one object.
Yes, there were three. I'm pretty sure there were three because there was the other two things going away. Is it coming towards us? And that's when I figured holy hell's going to break loose. I didn't, I just was worried sick after it was there once that it was going to come back and get it.
Okay, now the other two, were they similar to the one by the barn?
See, they just had lights. They looked like two small ones.
Okay, what color were the lights on those?
They were they're a neon light.
Same.
Only they didn't have anything under them. I couldn't see. They looked like smaller ones.
I see. Okay.
But they went away fast. But they don't make no noise. I can't see why a machine that big can't at least make something.
Now this was handled by the Colusa Police Department?
I called the Sheriff's Department because I couldn't stand it any longer. I had to know somebody else seen it. And they said they had one other caller, a couple, I don't remember. But the police department came here, and I told them what I saw. And they're the ones that called you.
This is the police or the sheriff?
This is the police here in town.
Okay, fine.
Call the sheriff's department. I guess they sent you guys. Oh, they dispatched out to the police here.
Okay.
It's not a fib, sir.
Well,
I really believe it now. I used to think a little bit, you know, they had me wondered. That's all it ever went to. But I believe it.
Okay, other than this tingling sensation now, did you have any other physical or strange mental feelings while all this was going on?
Well, I don't really know. I couldn't get in the house. I was all frustrated. I hit the walls going down because we had no lights in there. I couldn't, and I've always walked through that hall before without running into everything. But I guess I was scared too. It's like electricity. I mean, it's like your hair's in, you take some kind of a Dicon or coats, you know, you wear, and you get this static electricity when you pull it off.
Right.
That's the way your hair stands up.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Static to it or something.